Yo, what is going on, you guys? Bashtian here, and today, guys, I'm so excited to bring you guys my updated Trickstar deck profile. I know I have not done this in a very long time. I'm pretty sure I have over 30 Trickstar profiles on my channel at this point. If you guys go back and check the history, I guarantee you I'm most likely lowballing. But I've not done one in a while. Trickstar has, let's be very much admittedly, okay, has been very bottom of the barrel for a while now. We got the Trickstar Light Stage back. Cool. Thanks, Konami. Appreciate that. We got it at full power now, which is cool. Again, thanks, Konami. I appreciate that. However, the deck is still combating some consistency issues, and some of it arising from the deck is not very not fast enough to keep up with the times. But the deck can still OTK wildly out of nowhere by either making you deck out or by burning you to death. So it really just depends on how you want to go ahead and build it. Now, I build my deck as more of a. So this is still in the building process. So I just want to make you guys aware of this. It's not a final piece, as you could say, is still in its testing phases. We did just get new support. We did just get new support out of the Maze of Memory set. It just dropped recently, guys. Just dropped this past week, Thursday, Friday, I believe. So it's called the Angel with Blue Tears. Otherwise, it's a play on words, I guess, on the main character from the Yu-Gi-Oh! Brains series that actually used this deck called Blue Angel, or however her name changes throughout the anime. I stopped watching very early on. It was not very good, but this deck is fantastic. I absolutely love it, and this card's actually not that bad. I say not that bad because I want to be as honest with you guys as possible. I'm not gonna sit here and say that this card is like phenomenal by any means whatsoever. This card is not like groundbreaking or game-changing by any means whatsoever. When I first read it, it sounded really good, and then Triple Tactic Thrust came along, and it does this thing's job better. So I just want to go ahead and lay that out there for you guys, but I still want to go ahead and get you guys my updated profile. So let's go ahead and get right into it. All right, guys, so I have here my updated Trickstar deck profile for March 2023. This is very, very exciting. I haven't touched this deck in the longest time. Now, this is on YGO Pro because I'm first of all pre-recording this. Of course, if you guys don't know, I'm on vacation right now for about the next week, so I'm pre-recording everything, so I haven't been able to even get my hands on the new set, unfortunately, the Maze of Memory set. So I haven't gotten the new card, which is going to be right over here, Angel with Blue Tears. But I'm going to go over all my card sections for you guys, so don't worry, I'll still be able to go ahead and do that for you. So I'm saying this because I have not been able to, of course, obtain the card just yet. But it is coming up as a rare, I believe, so it's going to be really, really easy to obtain, which is nice because, like I said, it's not the craziest card to begin with. It's not like a Trickstar Reincarnation. This card is absolutely busted. But I'm going to go ahead and keep going. So anyway, you play with 3 Candina, 3 Lycoris. That has not changed in history of ever. I will never play double Lycoris. You have to play this card at 3. She allows you to dodge the effect Veiler imperm negations of Candina. Any targeting negation, she helps you dodge. Absolutely fantastic. So you get to go ahead and do that. Next, you play 1 copy of Korobane, 2 copies of Korobane. That is pretty much like a Engine Honest. Also, she's a free special summon, which allows you to go into your link plays potentially as well. And then you play your 1 copy of Lilybell to be able to punch for at least 800 to 1000 damage, depending on if you have the light stage on the field or not. Which I will say, with the most recent support that we have received, not direct support, but with the most recent cards that we have received, this has become a lot more consistent. So you are able to go ahead and do this, deal just initial little bits and pieces of damage consistently here there as well. Which, I mean, 200 per card of damage you're going to be doing, whether it's the spell traps or it's going to be the when you're adding a card to the hand. It does come up and it does build up quite fast, so it is something you have to keep in mind if you are going to be facing this deck in the future. Next, we have 3 copies of Drone Lockbird. I mean, realistically, the Drone Lock combo has become a staple of this deck ever since the deck was initially came out. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous how this works. So basically, if your opponent adds a card to their hand, you activate your Reincarnation, chain Drone Lockbird. Drone Lockbird will resolve, and then Reincarnation will resolve to its best ability. And because cards cannot be added to the hand, your opponent just ends up banishing their entire hand, and they can't draw anymore, which is actually ridiculous. Next, I played 3 copies of the Gamma Seal and 3 copies of Kamungus, a String Kaiju, just to get around any pesky monsters that may be in our way. So this is becoming, I think, one of the best ways to go ahead and get around really annoying monsters, really annoying boards. I also do pair this up with double Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. So this actually used to be a huge card back in the day, and I think it's honestly, it could possibly come back into the meta. Just you know, they're probably better cards you can go ahead and play. If you're playing this, you have to play multiple different Kaijus, so it's not going to work for every deck, but in Trickstar, because there's so limited amount of cards that are actually good, and don't get me wrong, Trickstar has plenty of support, but is it good? The majority of it is not very good. So you have plenty of space in your main to go ahead and play these 2 cards, so I want to go ahead and maximize the ability to go ahead and do so. Also, cards like decks, I should say, like Bashtian, Trap Tricks, doesn't really have any type of negation for this as well, so you're able to go ahead and either kaiju off their monsters or interrupted slumber them, and you get to go ahead and go off free from there. Even if they're playing a deck like a Sword Soul, majority of the time they go for the burn effects and banish effects over the Baron, which I don't personally agree with, but I mean, I'm not a Sword Soul player, I just have the deck. So that's completely different, 2 completely different things. For the other monsters, I play 3 copies of Ash Blossom, Joyous Spring, of course. Branded is still really big in the format, so you want to make sure that you are able to have a counter for that as well. Also, Ash Blossom, of course, is very, very good against most decks out there as well. For the spells, I play 3 copies of Trickstar Light Stage again. Thank you, Konami, always having our back. 3 copies of Light Stage, searches Trickstar on activation, absolutely busted. Also, it has really, really good, especially in this format, it is phenomenal because you are able to go ahead and freeze set cards your opponent controls. So you can go ahead and freeze your opponent's back row and Trap Tricks, or the Labyrinth strategies, or the Sword Soul strategy as well. You go ahead and freeze their blackout. So it has a lot of applications against pretty much every single deck out there as well. So really, really good card, especially in this format. And then I play 2 copies of the brand new card Angel with Blue Tears. So this, what it allows you to do is a brand new card. Again, just came out of Maze of Memories. So this card does basically, you can target a face-up monster on the field, of course. That's the cost, right? Semicolon right there. Its controller's opponent takes 200 damage for each cards in their hand. So if you're targeting a monster your opponent controls, their opponent is yourself, so you will take 200 points of damage per card in their hand. In your hand, I should say. So that is something to keep in mind. It's not the best when it comes to that, but you do get to negate that monster's effect. You can also negate your face-up monster's effect and then deal damage to your opponent, because you don't have to target a face-up monster your opponent controls. So that is something to keep in mind. I have a little bit of additional burn damage as well, so you have that going for you. So if either, you can also do this going first, which I think is really nice. You go ahead and normal summon Candina, activate the effect. You already searched, so you activate Angel of Blue Tears, target the Candina, burn your opponent for a cool 1000 just to start off the game, which I think is fantastic. I mean, this deck wins in time, and there's no way you're not winning in time if you're playing Trickstar, in the event that it does get that far, right? So just a heads up. So if either player takes effect damage, right, you can banish this card from your graveyard, semicolon, set 1 normal trap directly from your hand or deck. If it was set from the hand, it can be activated this turn. So with that being said, this is a quick effect, and you can activate it during your opponent's turn as well, which is nice. So with that being said, you do get reincarnation, which is cool. You get to go ahead and set it, or imperm, any normal trap you want. You can, I've even considered mixing this with like Trap Tricks as well, because it is really, really good support, especially if you can just go ahead and set whole attack. The card does not restrict itself to just Trickstar cards or Trickstar trap cards. It just has 1 normal trap. So this is actually indirectly Trap Trick support, which you can definitely play. So that is something that you want to go ahead and keep in mind as well. In case you are hoping to play this in Trap Tricks down the line, that'd be really, really cool. But anyway, you can go ahead and set it, which is nice and all, but again, with the new card that just came out of the Photon Hypernova Triple Tactics Tasking, I just think it does that effect a little bit better. We can go ahead and search any normal spell or trap card directly to your hand, essentially, so that is really, really good as well. So right now we are playing 2 copies of the Thrust and 2 copies of the Angel Blue Tears. That way we're always guaranteed to search any normal spell or trap that we want from our deck. 2 copies of Pot of Prosperity. Digging for the right cards in Trickstar is very, very important, because back when Trickstar was full power, Terraforming was at 3, Upstart Goblin was at 3, so many ridiculous cards were at 3. I think Card of Demise was also at 3. Into the Void was at 3. Like, so many draw cards were at 3. The deck overall was extremely consistent, but now we have to make sure that we're getting the right cards, so prosperity is going to be huge with that. But with that being said, terraforming, of course, Called by the Grave, which is nice. 2 copies of the Slumber, which we already talked about. And for the traps, I played 3 Imperm and 3 copies of Reincarnation. So that is going to be it for the main deck. It's a 40 card main deck. Now the extra deck in Trickstar has never really mattered. So if you're going to be banishing to go ahead and activate effects, that's perfectly fine. I mean, I'm perfectly fine with it. Actually, I wouldn't even mind playing Extravagance in this deck, realistically, because having a draw 2 is also nice, but I think being able to dig for the right card is going to be that much better. So that's why back in the day you could play cards like Scapegoat, just so you can actually have some type of use from your extra deck, which is I think is pretty funny. But yeah, so that's going to be it for the main deck, guys. 40 card main deck. Now the extra deck is going to be a lot more centered for the side deck. So I played 3 copies of Ultimate Slayer in the side. And we play a whole bunch of targets on here as well for the extra deck. So I am going to talk about each one just so you guys know as well. So for this extra deck, I played 2 copies of Ferrigit, Ultimate Slayer targets, 2 copies of Holly Angel, 1 Foxy Glove, and 1 copy of Bella Madonna, boss monster. Actually not a bad boss monster. It's just not strong enough, being at 2800. I really wish this was at 3000 or above, because that's the one knock on Trickstar. They're all super weak monsters. So I really wish the boss monster would be a little bit stronger, but I guess it does fall within what the archetype is. You're supposed to be burning your opponent. So for the Xyz targets for Ultimate Slayer, 1 Totally Awesome, 2 copies of Mereologic Aggregator, 1 Adagnister, 1 Omega, 2 Intis, and 2 copies of Garura. So I'm gonna go over all these with you guys real quick. So Ferrigit lets you mulligan 1 card in your hand, which is never a bad thing to do. Totally awesome because you get to go ahead and add a water monster from your graveyard back to your hand. What water do you play in this deck, you might ask? We play Gameciel in this deck, my friends. So you can go ahead and get Gameciel back in the event you want to go ahead and do that. It's not bad. 2 copies of Aggregator because it does have the effect where you can go ahead and negate a face-up card in the field, any face-up card in the field, which is very good in most matchups, I would say. Adagnister to go ahead and shuffle a card into the deck. We have Omega as a backup option as well. For fusions is going to be huge. So Intis, of course, is absolutely phenomenal. If you guys, I'm sure already know what Intis does. And Garura, if you want to go ahead and get an additional draw 1, which again, is never a bad option. So with Trickstar, you do want to go ahead and side a lot heavy for going second, so that is going to be really big. For the side deck, I played 3 copies of Denko Sekka, 3 copies of Ultimate Slayer, Change of Heart, Harpy's Feather Duster, Mind Control, 3 Twin Twister, and 3 copies of Dimensional Barrier. Dimensional Barrier, again, is pretty self-explanatory. Denko Sekka is going to be probably a weird one, just because I'm not sure. Like I said, this is still in the testing phases as far as the side that goes for sure. But then Denko Sekka is that there's so many, there's 2 really good trap decks in the format. There's of course the Labyrinth archetype, and then there's the Trap Tricks archetype, which are both going to be extremely highly represented at any big event you go to. So it is something you want to go ahead and keep in mind too, in case you are looking to take Trickstar into a large scale event. The reincarnation effect is a lot less relevant in that aspect, but in those type of matchups, you are going to be sighting in Denko Sekka along with Twin Twister. So what you do is you activate the Twin Twister, and you can discard Angel with Blue Tears, and you can discard Reincarnation to get their graveyard effects, and that way you don't lose as much advantage, and you can still keep Denko Sekka on board without having to set any cards as well. So that's why you play a big or a large spell lineup as well, so that is something to keep in mind with also Ultimate Slayer. I already went over Change of Heart and Mind Control. I think in any deck that has room to side these, you definitely should. If you can main deck them, that's fantastic, but these 2 cards are absolutely phenomenal. Change of Heart, Mind Control are extremely good in any format, especially this one. I would even consider potentially taking out either an Entis or a Garura, maybe a Garura to put a AA Zeus in here. That way you can go ahead and take your opponent's Xyz monster and just slap a Zeus on top, and then slap a Zeus on top. So you can go ahead and get that much more advantage that way as well. But that's going to be it for the profile, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Honestly, I am excited that we are getting Trickstar support, but I really wish it were better support. It's similar to like when DDD gets support. When DDD gets support, it's exciting, but it's never good. So I think the last piece of really good support we got for DDD, just off topic here, I think was the Link monster, which is godlike, don't get me wrong. and what's that card? That XZ's Machinex. Machinex and the Link Monster are incredibly wildly good. But I really wish Trickstar would get some better support, maybe a little bit more. If it's gonna be more Link spammy, I really wish you would have better cards to Link spam. For example, cards that say if you control a Trickstar monster, special summon this, or if you don't control a Trickstar monster, if you control no monster, special summon it. Like Korobane, if all of them had the similar effect and they all said when this card is summoned, they get to go ahead and do something, I think this deck would be tier 1, no doubt about it. But unfortunately, a lot of the Trickstar support doesn't do that. They're very restricting when it comes to it. They do very specific things. And that's where I think this deck kind of falls off. And that's where it relies on a lot of other cards, a lot of non-engine cards in order to be able to make itself as playable as possible. But enough of a rundown on Trickstar. That's just my personal opinion. Let me know what you guys think again in the comment section down below. If you guys enjoyed Trickstar or enjoyed this deck profile, let me know by smashing that like button, subscribing to the channel, and hit that notification bell as well to guys make sure that you are here for each and every single one of my uploads. I do try to upload between 4 to 5 times a week, Monday through Friday. So if you guys like consistent uploads, let me know. You can also let me know by, of course, subscribing and liking the video. And anyway, if you guys stick around this long, I appreciate each and every single one of you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.